Swiss are crazy about trains. We don't just have a lot of railroads. We have the most beautiful ones in the world.
So kind as to close the window. I don't want to sit in the draught.
Oh, pardon me. The violinist is a good-looking fellow. And he's traveling through the most beautiful mountain landscape in the world. But one can only hope that his violin is better tuned than he.
Very kind of you. Thanks. Oh, pardon me.
No problem. The uniform is waterproof. Mr.
Lucien. Professor Edgar Lucien.
Oh, a professor. Are you a scientist? Do you teach at the Sorbonne?
No, I work at the British Museum in London.
You don't say. Did you notice anything unusual on the train?
Here? On the train? No. I can't say that I have. Although I did spend most of the time in my compartment.
If you work in the British Museum, then you must have experienced the burglary firsthand.
No, I wouldn't say that.
Oh, no?
Well, there was a lot of commotion, but I didn't really pay much attention to it.
There was a break-in in your museum, and it didn't concern you?
Well, let's just say that nothing that's happened in the last 2,000 years concerns me.
May I ask where you are going?
Of course. To Venice. I'm going to meet some colleagues there.
Oh, Venice. A beautiful city, or so I'm told.
Indeed. But I really have to take my leave now.
Just a moment, please. The famous Inspector Legrand is on this train. I imagine you know him.
No. Should I?
You don't know him? And you also don't know what he's doing here?
No. Well, why should I?
Just a thought. You're a representative of the British Museum. There's a guarded safe on the train.
I'm sorry. I don't know what you're trying to imply. And now, please excuse me.
I don't want to take up any more of your valuable time, but you do understand, don't you, that what concerns me is the present, and especially the robbery at the museum.
Yeah, of course, of course. It's just, I'm in rather a hurry.
You'll get in touch if you notice anything unusual, won't you, Professor?
Of course, Constable. What's this?
What's the matter, sir?
The door. I can't open it.
Ah, We'll sort it out somehow. The compartment is locked.
But I didn't lock it. I don't even have a key. I asked the steward. He was going to bring me one, but he never came back.
Someone locked it.
Find the steward. He needs to bring me the key immediately.
Calm down, Professor. I'll see what I can do.
You don't understand. I have to get back in my compartment.
All right, just wait here. You can easily lock the compartment door from inside by turning a little knob.
But I didn't lock it.
Professor, if you had locked the door from in there, you wouldn't be out here.
That's true.
I don't believe that... It's no use. The bolt is too short to get a good grip on it. I don't believe it. I never thought I'd ever meet you.
Pardon me, but we'd prefer...
It's all right, Miss Miller. I'd like to speak to the inspector.
Unfortunately, just a constable, Lady Westmacott. I'm reading The Vicarage in the Mirror right now, for the 5th time at least.
That's nice, Constable...
Zellner. Anton Jakob Zellner.
This is my companion, Miss Miller.
A pleasure. As a writer, you must be very observant, am I right? I mean, you have to study the behavior of people around you to create the characters in your novels, don't you?
I solved the mystery of human nature a long time ago, Mr. Zellner. Since then, most people just bore me.
Really? I had the impression you were eyeing me suspiciously as I came in.
What do you want to know, Constable?
Did you notice the blonde man with the violin case?
I certainly did. He introduced himself and tried to make a good impression. People like him are drawn to wealth and fame, like moths to a flame.
But his charms failed on you.
I know him by name. David Kreutzer. He was a drain on my friend's purse.
Do you think he has a money problem?
People like him always have a money problem. No matter how much you give them, they always spend twice as much and complain that they have far too little.
What are you doing here, if I may ask? Are you on holiday?
Holiday? Yes, so to speak. The first and last holiday of my life.
Madam?
I've been writing since I was a little girl. It became my job, and now I've stopped. So, this must be a holiday.
You quit writing? Impossible. I have all of your books. Your Detective Partout is my favorite character.
Then I have bad news for you. I killed the old wretch off years ago.
I don't understand.
I'd rather not discuss my work, Constable.
Oh, well, fine. Are you traveling to Istanbul, Lady Westmacott?
No, we are on our way to Venice. From there, we will take a ship to Cairo. As you may know, I have a penchant for archaeology. I fund a few excavations in Egypt. I traveled to Egypt by ship as a young woman. And now I'm doing it again as an old woman.
I see. About the other passengers, did you notice the man who just walked into the next carriage with a cup of tea?
I did. He seemed nervous. He was waiting at the bar for the steward, and since the steward never appeared, he elected to help himself. He took 2 biscuits.
He seems pretty young, but he's already a professor at the British Museum.
Interesting. I'll have to talk to him later. Just out of courtesy, of course.
Of course. Did you notice anyone else? What about the doctor?
I notice that you've asked me about everyone, Except for the inspector who went in the direction of the freight car a few minutes ago. Isn't that the Frenchman who made his name when he caught the Raven?
I wouldn't quite say caught.
Well, shot. Why don't you ask me about him and my theory about what he's doing here?
I don't think we should discuss Inspector Legrand's investigation in public.
Legrand, right. That was his name. Will he save the day again? Or will you, Constable?
As much as I'd like to keep talking, duty calls.
You were right.
Madam?
I did observe you as you came in. You seemed so eager.
It's been a long time since I've had a chance to prove myself, madam.
And this is it. Your chance.
I do hope so.
Then grab it. Even small people can make big changes, as my friend Ronald likes to say.
I shall do my best. I suppose the steward won't object to me having a look around in his absence. The pad on which the steward writes orders, empty. Maybe he didn't use it because there's not much to do today. I don't need the pad, but the pencil might come in handy. Butterscotch. I've loved them since I was a child. Their only drawback, they don't play nice with false teeth. Maybe if I just suck it. Perhaps he keeps the compartment keys in there. Locked. Where could he be? A shortwave radio. It's amazing how small these things have become in the last 10 years.
Mr.
Zellner.
Right. How can I help you?
Tell me, did you notice anything suspicious here on the train or in Zurich?
You mean, except for the fact that my suitcase was stolen on the platform? No. Is there any reason to be concerned?
No, just routine.
Constable Zellner, please don't think I'm naive. I spotted the inspector from Interpol. Legarde is his name, if I recall correctly.
Legrand.
If you say so. At the train station in Zurich, he put a cash box into the safe, and then kept close watch as it was loaded onto the train. Don't tell me that a man at his...
A cash box? Like the ones you'd find in safe deposit boxes?
Precisely. And I believe we both have a good idea just what's inside.
I do indeed have a theory, but what's yours?
A ruby was stolen in London. One of the legendary Eyes of the Sphinx. The second jewel, an emerald, is rumored to be in a Swiss bank vault, if I remember correctly. Both jewels were supposed to be exhibited together in Cairo for the first time in 50 years. It does make one wonder.
Indeed. Any news about the robbery in London?
Quite something, wasn't it? It must have been professionals. The way they disabled one of the best security systems in the world. Most impressive.
People were injured.
Well, one cannot execute a robbery of that scale without collateral damage. It seems like the Raven has finally found a worthy successor. We can look forward to new and spectacular coups.
I'm afraid I won't enjoy his exploits this time around if the new Raven is so reckless.
That's your prerogative.
Auf Wiedersehen, Dr. Gebhardt.
Goodbye, Constable. It was a pleasant chat, really.
The ladder leads up to the roof. It will be suicidal to climb up there while the train is at full speed. The wind, tunnels... No, I'll stay down here. A box with a padlock. I suppose it contains tools for the train's crew, maybe for coupling and uncoupling the cars. At any rate, it's positioned so that it's easier to reach from the ground than from up here. Locked.
Bang! Bang!
Huh?
Don't move!
Matt, have you gone mad?
I'll shoot! Hey, my pistol!
You'll get it back in Venice. I could have fallen under the wheels.
I thought you were a ghost.
Ghosts don't exist.
They do too. One just flew past the window.
Yes, sure. Now get moving.
Oh, man.
I strongly suspect that the door is locked. No, it's open. Hello? Wow.
Don't move a muscle, you feathered fiend.
Put the gun down, Robert. If I may introduce Constable Robert Oliver from the yard. And this is the revered Constable Zellner of the Swiss police, who obviously couldn't control his curiosity.
Then I was right. You really do want to lure someone into a trap.
That's none of your business.
Perhaps that someone recently struck in London.
And how would I bait my trap then?
With an eye? An eye on its way from Zurich to Cairo?
Someone has done his homework. Well done, Constable.
What do you know of this Raven's heir?
He tried to blow me up.
Robert, we don't know who we're dealing with yet.
In any event, the new Raven is a more dangerous man than the old one.
How do you know it's a man? It could just as easily be a woman.
Or several men.
And anyway, how do you know that it's a new Raven?
Monsieur?
Never mind.
I hope you'll acknowledge that I, as a Swiss policeman, can undertake investigations in my own country.
Are we still in Switzerland?
I could be your eyes on the train, as long as you're here in the freight car.
Oh, really?
There is a certain Professor Lucien on the train. He's an archaeologist from London.
And what's his story?
Well, it seems someone locked him out of his compartment.
Locked him out?
Well, yes. The door is locked and he's standing outside without a key.
Was it locked from inside?
It may have been. Do you think the locked door could be important?
Professor Lucien plays an important role in this story. Well then, Constable Zellner, be my eyes and ears on the train and see that Professor Lucien gets back into his compartment. Report back to me when you're through.
My pleasure, monsieur. I'll go attend to the door now.
Good. And, Constable Zellner?
Yes?
Don't bother us unless you have something new to report.
Of course. A thief might get anxious if there's too much activity in the freight car.
Exactement. Knock twice. Then we'll know that it's you.
Understood. An investigation on behalf of Legrand that takes me one step closer. If I can convince him of my competence, I might even be able to see this case through to the end.
Constable?
Yes, ma'am.
My son didn't make any trouble for you, I hope. It's just that he just walked past us, silent and seething. That's usually a sign that someone's laid down the law.
I'm afraid so. He played a trick on me, a rather dangerous one. The lad left me no choice but to take away his wooden pistol as a punishment.
I understand. And thank you. Matty is a very lively child. Sometimes he needs a strong fatherly hand.
Where is Matt's father, if I may ask?
He's gone.
Ah, I understand.
Could you, leave Matty's pistol here, perhaps? So you don't have to bother with it?
Of course. I told him he wouldn't get it back until Venice.
Very well. Thank you again, Constable.
The little label on the door reads Baroness von Trebitz. Blue blood on the Orient Express.
Yes, what is it?
Whoever that is, James, ask them whether they found my purse and then closed the door. The noise on this train is driving me crazy.
You're missing a purse. Was it stolen?
At the very least, I cannot find it, sir.
It was stolen.
When was the last time the Baroness saw her purse?
What?
In Zurich, on the platform, sir.
I just asked where you last saw your purse.
In Zurich on the platform. James, tell him that I still had it when I got out to stretch my legs.
The Baroness says...
Maybe you lost it there.
What?
The Baroness never loses anything, sir.
I never lose anything.
Very well then. I shall be on the lookout for your purse. If I might ask you a few questions about your fellow passengers.
I thought he was looking for my purse. James, tell him to look for my purse.
The Baroness wishes that you search for her purse.
But couldn't we perhaps... All right. First, the purse. I will have a look around.
Thank you, sir.
He doesn't make a very balanced impression. And he, of all people, isn't bothered by a robbery in his own museum. The bolt is too short to get a good grip on it. I'm at a loss without a key or a proper tool. The door is locked. I'm at a loss without a key or a proper tool. Professor Lucien?
Yes? Do you have the key?
Actually, I wanted...
Please. I have to go back to my compartment.
Perhaps a thoughtful conductor noticed that Professor Lucien wasn't in his compartment and locked it. The box is secured with a padlock. I won't be able to open it without a key. The box is secured with a padlock. I won't be able to open it without a key. Inspector Legrand?
Anything to report?
Baroness von Trebitz told me that she's missing her purse.
Baroness von Trebitz. Interesting.
Indeed, sir.
But it has nothing to do with our case.
So I shouldn't concern myself with the matter.
Why not? It's your job as a policeman. But don't expect me to be particularly interested in a lost purse.
I'll get back to work now.
Good.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
A passenger is missing her purse. Perhaps you've seen it.
I haven't left my seat.
It's been missing for some time now. Probably since Zurich.
The Swiss don't let go of money easily, do they? Oh, pardon me. No, I haven't seen the purse.
If I'm not mistaken, you're a violinist.
That's true.
A wonderful instrument. The violin music touches the soul.
That's why I learned to play it.
Do you play in an orchestra?
No, orchestras aren't really part of my world.
A solo violinist. The best soloists travel a great deal and make a pile of money, or so they say.
In that case, I'm probably not one of the best.
Oh, of course. What I really wanted to ask is, did you notice anything unusual on the train?
Anything unusual?
Persons acting suspiciously, for instance.
For heaven's sake, is there cause for concern?
Everything is in order, sir. We Swiss are just very cautious people.
I understand. No, I didn't notice anything.
Are you traveling to Istanbul non-stop?
No. I'll transfer in Venice to a ship. I'm on my way to Cairo.
Cairo?
I'm performing at the reception in the Egyptian Museum there.
Have a good trip.
Thank you.
Hello, Matt. Oh, come on. Are you going to be angry with me for the rest of the trip?
Until I get my pistol back.
I gave it to your mother.
Oh, man. Couldn't you have just raked me over the coals?
Would you have learned anything from that?
I didn't learn anything from this either.
This is the first car. The coal tender should be directly beyond this door, and in front of it, the engine. The large map shows the different routes of the Orient Express. This train began in Paris and ends in Istanbul, as usual. Unfortunately, it will make most of its journey without me. doesn't make a very balanced impression. And he, of all people, isn't bothered by a robbery in his own museum. An extraordinary woman. Talented, intellectual, extremely rich, and the most successful writer of all time. Yet, they say she can be difficult on occasion, and that she's rather unhappy. Excuse me, Lady Westmacott.
Constable Zellner, how can I help you?
A passenger's purse has gone missing. I suppose you haven't seen it.
I'm sorry, Constable Zellner. As you know, I only deal with murder, not burglary.
Have you asked my boy yet? Maddie is good at finding things.
I'll go and do that now. Another time. Farewell, Lady Westmacott.
Constable?
Mrs. Miller made a good impression. She wanted to protect Lady Westmacott from me, a pushy admirer. Very diligent. But she does seem a little nervous and tense. I imagine she has her work cut out for her with Matt. And a difficult boss, from what they say. Mrs. Miller?
Yes?
Did you notice anything unusual on the train?
Oh, I'm afraid not. I was totally focused on my work.
She's always got an awful lot to do, my Mary.
You have to tell me if that's not all right with you.
Good Lord, child. Knit as much as you want.
So, nothing out of the ordinary?
No, Constable.
Goodbye, Mrs. Miller.
Goodbye, Constable.
Come on, Matt. Did you really think that you can ignore me for longer than I can ignore you? I'm Swiss. It's practically a national sport. Matt is digging in his heels. I won't get anything out of him as long as he's angry with me. Matt is digging in his heels. I won't get anything out of him as long as he's angry with me. There are thousands of things I would like to ask her, but nothing would justify neglecting my duties here on the train. I think it's uncomfortable for her when I talk to her in front of Lady Westmacott. She seems to take it as an inappropriate distraction from her work, although she's just knitting. Taking up a craft like that is typical of women who were told as little girls that idleness is a sin. I think it's uncomfortable for her when I talk to her in front of Lady... Although... Who'd have thought that one day butterscotch would remind me of my age and of all the things I had to leave behind. The steward probably uses the scissors on hard-to-open packages. These days, nearly everything is sealed up tight. A colleague recently told me about dried powdered soup in small bags. I couldn't believe it. I need a bit of wire or something like that to pick the lock. A shortwave radio. It's amazing how small these things have become in the last 10 years. I need a bit of wire or something like that to pick the lock. The box is secured with a padlock. I won't be able to open it without a key. Inspector Legrand was quite clear. I'm only to enter the freight car if there's news to report.
Definitely nothing out there. Do not know what I'm supposed to do. Some wire. I can get
There are thousands of things I would like to ask her, but nothing would justify neglecting my duties here on the train.
as long as this guy's got wire.
The Baroness seems to have a special personality. I better not bother her until I find her purse. First, I'd better see about getting the door open, and then have another talk with the professor. It doesn't seem like I'll get anything out of him as long as the door is still locked. There could be many reasons for the violinist's shaking hand. Strained nerves, an illness. My money's on alcohol. It wouldn't be the first musician who ruined his career that way. I have no reason to bother the violinist. He can stay in the stuffy air if he prefers. I have no reason to bother the violinist. He can stay in the stuffy air if he prefers. Should I ask for an autograph? That would be quite unprofessional. But on the other hand... I don't know what more to ask. He hasn't noticed anything suspicious. Excuse me, Lady Westmacott.
Constable Zellner, how can I help you?
I was wondering if you might...
Sign your book, Constable Zellner?
If it isn't too much of an inconvenience.
Of course it's an inconvenience, but only a small one. You are welcome.
Thank you so very much. Another time. Farewell, Lady Westmacott.
Constable.
Finally, then I can finally get the purse. Then that person will probably go out. Hopefully, she'll give me some swing or something.
Matt is digging in his heels. I won't get anything out of him as long as he's angry with me. Matt is digging in his heels. I won't get anything out of him as long as he's angry with me. There could be many reasons for the violinist's shaking hand. Strained nerves, an illness. My money's on alcohol. It wouldn't be the first musician who ruined his career that way. First, I'd better see about getting the door open, and then have another talk with the professor. It doesn't seem like I'll get anything out of him as long as the door is still locked. There are thousands of things I would like to ask her, but nothing would justify neglecting my duties here on the train. I think it's uncomfortable for her when I talk to her in front of Lady Westmacott. She seems to take it as an inappropriate distraction from her work, although she's just knitting. Taking up a craft like that is typical of women who were told as little girls that idleness is a sin. The steward must have forgotten the toothpicks. Normally he would offer them discreetly after dinner. I need a bit of wire or something like that to pick the lock. This is the steward's own little kingdom, but as long as he's not around, he won't be upset if I take a look. I'll leave the scissors here. If I need them, I know where to find them. I need a bit of wire or something like that to pick the lock. The box is secured with a padlock. I won't be able to open it without a key. First, I'd better see about getting the door open, and then have another talk with the professor. It doesn't seem like I'll get anything out of him as long as the door is still locked. The bolt is too short to get a good grip on it. I'm at a loss without a key or a proper tool. Matt is digging in his heels. I won't get anything out of him as long as he's angry with me. I don't know what more to ask. He hasn't noticed anything suspicious. I have no reason to bother the violinist. He can stay in the stuffy if he prefers. The train covers a distance of more than 3,000 kilometers. It stops at a dozen places. In many cities, they entertain the travelers with local specialities and culture and adventure, especially in southeastern Europe. The Baroness seems to have a special personality. I better not bother her until I find her purse. I think it's uncomfortable, although... Hello, Dr. Gebhardt.
Ah, Mr. Zellner.
I meant to ask, the Baroness is missing her purse.
A Baroness? This train is really full of the creme de la creme. The Queen of Crime is over there, and now a Baroness as well.
Have you seen the purse?
Unfortunately, no. Do you know Lady Westmacott? You were talking to her?
Well, I'm an admirer of her work.
Like so many others. I once read in the newspaper that only Shakespeare and the Bible sell more copies than her crime novels.
I read that too.
She must be filthy rich. As a doctor, I'd have to work 1,000 years to earn that kind of money.
There's something else. Do you know where the conductor is?
I'd like to know that myself. I told him to search for my missing suitcase in Zurich. He hasn't got back to me yet. He's probably in cahoots with the thieves, and didn't bother getting back on the train. If we don't crack down on vermin like them, the rabble will rule the world one day.
Well, at the moment, we still don't know what really happened.
He's not here doing his job. That's bad enough.
Your newspaper caught my eye. May I borrow it for a second?
You can take the section with the article on the burglary. You're interested in that bit, aren't you?
You caught me out.
Here you go.
Dankeschön. Auf Wiedersehen, Dr. Gebhardt.
Goodbye, Constable. It was a pleasant chat, really.
There are thousands of things I would, but nothing.
Claim this achievement.
The Baroness seems to have a special personality. I better not bother her until I find her purse. First, I better see about getting the door open. There could be many reasons for the violinist. My money's on alcohol. I don't know what more to add. There could be many reasons for the violinist shaking hand. Strain my money. Matt is digging in his heels. I won't get anything out of him as long as he's angry with me. I have no reason to bother the violinist. He can stay in the stuffy air if he prefers. The right key or a proper tool to get the door open. I'll leave the scissors here. If I need them, I know where to find them. This is the stew, but as long... I need a bit of... The box is secured with... Inspector Legrand was... I'm only...
You do not know what to do. The Baroness... I better not... The bolt is too short. I'm at a... Luna's Drops, the calming herbal liqueur for women. A glass a day. It relaxes the nerves and maintains domestic tranquility. Luna's Drops, if you don't want to bother your husband. A story about the upcoming Oscars and Cleopatra's chances of winning. An incredible feat.
They built the largest movie set of all time in Rome. And because of the main actress's many illnesses, several changes of director, and months of delays, costs shot to over $40 million. The most expensive movie ever made. A record never to be broken. John Surtees won the Formula One World Championship for the first time, making him the only man in motorsports to win world championships in... too loud. Let's see if the old shock hunts... I don't know what more... Would you like a butterscotch?
You think you can bribe me?
I have no reason to. You made trouble and got punished for it. Take it as a peace offering.
Just 4?
If I'm faster than you, there'll only be 3.
Hey!
Friends again?
Mm-hmm.
All right then. And no dangerous nonsense anymore.
Okay.
Something completely different this time. The Baroness in the second compartment over there is missing her purse. Do you have any idea where it could be?
Do I ever? That guy over there with the violin case?
What about him?
He picked up something in Zurich and put it in his violin case.
Really?
Yeah, and he made sure that nobody saw him.
But you saw him.
Uh-huh.
Did you also see what it was?
Nah, not really. But now that I think of it, it must have been the Baroness's purse.
I should look into it, shouldn't I?
I think so.
Your mother is Lady Westmacott's companion, correct?
Yeah, but it's not like you think. At first I thought, boy, you must be really wicked if you need to pay for friends. But the lady's really okay. A bit odd and really old. But other than that, she's great. She likes me.
The lady has peculiar taste.
Hey!
How old are you, Matt?
In 8 months, I'll be 9 years old.
And do you already know what you want to be when you grow up? A burglar?
No, we'll see. Maybe an actor.
Really? Well, I don't know. You need a lot of talent for that. I'm an actor in a theater group, you know?
You are?
Oh, yes. And I'm one of the best in our group, if I may say so. I get really deep into my roles, you know? I don't just talk like the character. I think like him. I become him. It's the only way to... Matt, are you okay?
I think you just have to be good at copying things to be an actor.
That wasn't bad. Disturbing, but not bad. Tell me, have you seen the steward anywhere? Hopefully.
What's he supposed to do?
I'm looking.
Did you check his things behind the counter?
I'm sure the drawers will be locked.
Can't you break it open? Or pick the lock like the Raven?
Perhaps. But I'd need a piece of wire or something like that.
Ask my mom. She has a lot of hairpins. She doesn't like the wind messing up her hair.
Thanks for the tip. You and your mom,
I'm only there for most of the...
I am...
No, you always have...
So...
You said...
So long.
So...
Mrs. Miller?
Yes?
Please excuse my unusual request, but Matt said you have some hairpins. Could I borrow one?
One of my hairpins?
It's a long story. It would be a big help.
Well, if you really need one.
Go ahead, Mary. The constable won't do it any harm. Will you, Mr. Zellner?
Of course not, madam.
Is this one okay?
It'll do nicely, madam. How very kind of you. Goodbye, Mrs. Miller.
Goodbye, Constable.
I need a bit of wire or something like that to pick the lock. And suddenly, it's me who's the thief on the train. Whoops, that was easier than expected. Batteries, a toothbrush, shaving brush, but not the key to the compartment door. Just this one. Too small for the door, but it might still be useful. A key to a padlock, I'm sure of that. It's not the first time I've held one. No, that's a totally different key. This one is made for a padlock. I need a bigger key with a square indentation or a proper tool for the compartment door. It doesn't work with this kind of lock.
There we go. This should help. A key to a padlock, I'm sure.
How the hell am I supposed to get in that bloody room with pliers?
I bet I could really get a grip on the bolt with these.
Well, come on then, hurry up.
Hello?
I barely left the window ajar.
Nothing to see.
Ah.
Are you okay?
Yes, fine.
Do you have any idea why the door was locked?
I don't know. Maybe the constant vibrations caused the lock to lock itself.
You can't possibly believe that.
Well, then what's your theory?
The conductor could have locked it from the outside. On the other hand, it could have been someone here in the compartment who locked the door from the inside.
Who? And where have they gone?
They could have climbed out there.
Who would be that insane?
You tell me, Professor. So, what are you hiding in your bag? What do you have that would be worth stealing?
No, nothing.
No valuables?
Certainly not. Not on my salary.
It was enough for a first-class compartment on a luxury train.
That's my business.
You're playing a dangerous game, Professor Lucien. I'd like to look around a bit.
Of course.
Wow. You have a very nice fountain pen. Pricey.
If you'd managed to decode hieroglyphics, then...
I really wonder what the professor is hiding from me. But I can't just rifle through the luggage of innocent citizens. This is the 60s. No, nothing interesting. The Bible, Grimm's fairy tales, Moby Dick, and gin, whiskey, and rum. All classics. Assuming there really was someone in the compartment, and he climbed out the window, where's he gone? What's this?
What do you have there?
It's a button. From a suit or a uniform, I guess.
The burglar might have lost it.
Maybe. Or maybe not. If I notice anyone with a missing button on his jacket, I'll ask him about it. But I wouldn't get my hopes up. If there was a burglar, he climbed out the window and jumped off the train. Did the burglar leave any clues? Here's something. Might be fingerprints. Tough to make out, but I do believe there are some prints on the window. If I had a forensics kit, I could make the prints visible with carbon powder. Professor Lucien?
Yes?
Oh, nothing.
Well, good.
Goodbye, Professor.
Goodbye.
The violin case looks pretty old, but that doesn't say anything about the quality of the violin. The best violins are often in the oldest cases. I doubt the violinist will let me have a look in his case. Excuse me, sir. About the purse.
Ah, yes? Has it been found?
Someone saw you with your violin case on the platform in Zurich.
What's the meaning of this? I didn't steal anything.
Nobody said you did. I just wanted to ask you whether you might have noticed anything on the platform.
Ah, well...
Why did you think I was accusing you?
Well, I thought... because you mentioned my violin case in the context of the purse.
Apropos, may I have a look at your violin? It must be a very extraordinary piece.
Oh, that's not possible. It's a genuine Guarneri.
Very valuable.
Very. And also very sensitive.
What could harm it here? Light? Air? May I ask you to open the violin case?
No, you may not. I'm not guilty of anything.
I'm afraid I have to insist.
Then I'm afraid you need a warrant. I will not stand back and let you rifle through my belongings.
Have a good trip.
Thank you. What are you doing? Didn't I make myself clear? The window stays closed.
You're not alone on this train. I want the window open.
Swiss politeness doesn't seem to be what it used to be. I'm not going to catch a cold because of you. Go somewhere else if you don't like it.
That makes no sense. The violinist would close the... Pills for my heart. I'm supposed to take one if I have trouble. My daughter insists, but I wasn't about... The tip of the toothpick is stuck between the window and the runner.
To your superiors. What are you doing there?
I was taking your case. This purse in your case.
Someone must have snuck it in. Like you.
Aha, for sure. And you have a pistol in the case because...
I don't owe you an explanation. It's mine. I have a gun license. Now, take the damned purse to the Baroness and leave me in peace. Just get lost.
It won't be that easy. I'll report the incident to the Italian authorities in Venice.
Oh, Inspector, did you find the Baroness's purse?
I did indeed.
You did? Out of my way, James. Oh, wunderbar. Tremendous work, Inspector.
Constable, Baroness. Constable Anton Jakob Zellner at your service. Have you heard about the burglary at the British Museum?
Heard about it? I'm directly affected by it.
How so?
I'm in charge of the Friends of the British Museum. And for your information, I'm financing the exhibition.
Exhibition? What exhibition?
The exhibition in Cairo. Where did you think we were going? The eyes of the Sphinx were supposed to be exhibited together for the first time in decades. Now that one of them is gone, the exhibition will be rather less sensational than we'd hoped.
On the other hand, there's a chance that all the uproar will generate more attention, and that the exhibition will still be a great success.
Oh, perhaps. But we wanted to show them both together. That was the whole point.
May I ask you where this beautiful train is taking you?
To the madhouse, I'm afraid. One is close to the brink of insanity with this constant shaking and rattling.
Have you ever tried flying, Baroness?
Do you know how little luggage one is permitted upon an aeroplane? It defies all reason and good taste.
Tell me anything about your fellow passengers, Baroness?
No, not really. I could hardly care who's penned up in here with me. Oh, no. Wait a minute. Lucien is here, the professor. Poor fellow. The eye of the Sphinx that was stolen belonged to his collection.
Professor Lucien is an Egyptologist.
But of course. As director of the Egyptian department of the British Museum, he has to be. The whole burglary thing directed...
I'll take Constable James. Pills for my heart. I'm sorry, my daughter, but I... All right, Matt. Tell me now. Tell me, how long has your mother been working for the lady?
2 years.
And your father? What does he do?
He stayed home. I used to go fishing with him, and hunting. He even let me shoot a real gun.
And then?
Then Mom fought with him, and he left. I was 7.
So long.
So longer.
I'll inform the authorities in Venice.
Pardon me, sir.
We could have used you a few minutes ago. Mrs.
Yes?
Thank you for your hairpin, Mrs. Miller. It really got me out of a jam.
Oh, really? That's good to hear. And thank you for bringing it back to me. Not everybody would have.
I'm a Swiss police. Goodbye, Mrs. Miller.
Goodbye, Constable.
I don't think the Baroness has any more information for me. And she's not... This James seems to have escaped the Baroness. Good day to you, sir.
Can I be of any assistance, sir?
I wanted to ask you a few questions. Where did you and the Baroness board the train?
In Paris, sir. The Baroness was there on behalf of a charity that she supported for many years.
So you weren't in London when they broke into the British Museum?
We may have been, actually. We left for Dover bright and early the morning after the burglary. But it was in Paris when we first heard of it. The morning paper in London didn't mention the unfortunate event, sir.
And just 2 days later, you're on a train bound for Switzerland. The Baroness certainly gets around.
Indeed, sir. We are practically always on the go.
If you'll pardon a rather odd question, are you really named James? That would be a lucky coincidence in your line of work.
My name, sir, is Clive Alfred Inch.
Your second name is Alfred, yet the Baroness calls you James.
Madam considers James to be the only forename suited to a butler, sir.
What can you tell me about the Baroness?
Nothing, sir. A butler does not tattle.
Many would say it's a strange job.
It is true that I am one of a dying breed, sir. The war claimed a generation of butlers.
Have you been to war as well?
Indeed, sir. I was a groom for a cavalry officer.
When you British talk about war, one is never sure which war you mean. It seems the situation hasn't changed much since the 30 Years' War, has it?
Shrapnel from a bomb dropped by a Fokker would not have wounded me in the 30 Years' War, sir.
No, of course not. Goodbye, James. Or Alfred. I don't think he can tell me anything more of interest.